at the London Design Summit, I'm really pleased to have Daniel from Compsoft, but also Tim Howard from Formworks. Hello. To talk about a project that you guys have collaborated on together. So let's start with you, Tim. What is the project?
Well, in a nutshell, Formworks replaces paper forms. It's designed for anybody out in the field collecting information. So if you're a salesperson, field engineer, service engineer, surveyor, medic, everyone uses paper forms. And when the iPad was launched 3 or 4 years ago, we saw that as an opportunity to replace paper, get rid of the paper forms, and put them onto an iPad. And that's when we started our work with Compsoft. And I guess to put it in perspective, if you think that every piece of paper that a field person fills out typically costs £1 to process from start to finish. So a team of 30 people with 10 pages a day, that's over £100,000 a year in processing costs. And if you can replace that with an iPad form, saving on rekeying, double entry, getting data back faster, you save a huge amount of time and effort.
And so you were brought in, obviously, to achieve this goal. What did you do? I mean, obviously, I've used and filled out forms on iPads many times when I'm doing rental applications or something like that. So tell me what your project has been to get this going.
Well, I mean, I think it started with working closely with these guys because they had expertise in, they were working in the field already where people were dealing with this kind of challenge of filling out forms on site. And it was how do we transition that into a mobile platform without the need for a bunch of tuition or changing the way potentially things are being done. These guys that are using these forms are diverse. They're in different sectors and different industries, and will have different levels of experience with IT. And it always comes down to, well, we just need to make it as intuitive and as sensible as possible, and something that feels like it's really just as natural as anything. And so it was really kind of understanding what that was going to be, kind of laying out a very straightforward menu system, putting in a little bit of subtle animation to bring them into the forms. The forms themselves, they're enabled to be configured on a content management system, which means they can be laid out in a way that would be familiar to the end user. And then, but they also bring in the design paradigms of the iPad or the device upon which it's running, and therefore, when the user's filling it in, they're kind of getting the appropriate keyboards, they're getting the appropriate input devices as well. Really trying to take away any kind of thought and effort from the user. They can just do their job. In fact, ideally, they don't even know that the Formworks app is kind of there.
That's it. So it's so simple that you don't even realise that you're using it almost.
Well, I think that kind of
arguably should be
you should be the intention of every app. I feel like apps should allow you to look up and get on with what you're doing. Allow you to do what you need to do, capture that data, and then let you get on with things.
So, from Formworks' perspective, as an experience, how has this worked for you? What do you think? How's it sort of working in the field, even?
I could probably best explain that by way of an example. We've had quite a large care company piloting Formworks very recently, and I think I came off a call last Thursday, and they'd measured the stats. They currently use paper and pen, moving on to iPad, and even just in filling the forms out, on paper it's 5 minutes, iPad is 3. Okay, and they're filling out probably 60 or 70,000 forms a year. Okay. Plus the fact they then, once the field guy or field carer has filled the form out, the information then straight back in the system. So from a compliance perspective, safety perspective, a management perspective, everything's back in the system. So, I mean, it does make a massive difference. And the work that these guys at Compsoft have done in terms of streamlining the process, so someone can just pick up an iPad and the forms look like paper, so they look familiar, they're easy, and even for people who are, not of the tech generation, let's say, they can pick it up, use it, and it's all fairly seamless.
So the experience is the same as the paper, but less irritating. And for example, my handwriting is terrible, so you sort of save that problem of illegibility and understandability, etc. Where can you take it in the future, though? Now that we're becoming more and more tech savvy, iPads are less, strange to many people. What happens?
Well, there's lots of different ways. I mean, at the moment we're single platform, so iPad will be moving on to possibly other platforms, so it's within Windows and Android. But also people are using video a lot more, so embedding the video in the forms. So if you're doing an insurance claim, rather than writing it now, they're just recording it. And also using dictation to capture text and information. So a lot of our clients are doing that, so that again saves information. So moving much more into video, photos, rather than just pure type.
Yeah, so understanding how we use the technology and expanding in the future, which is what you have to do, to keep on working for the people that you're working for, but also the people who are using these forms.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, wonderful to hear about it. Thank you so much. Great for your time.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.